Hello, my name is Anthony Rosenthal, and this is my presentation on Highspeed Rail, the future of transportation. So, why are we still stuck in traffic? It's kind of the main argument of my slide deck and my paper. In the United States, one of the most popular form of transportation is the car. Everyone uses a car. It is the predominant mode of transportation for nearly every single county in the United States. But there are some downsides to cars. They can create a lot of traffic, especially during rush hour. There's a lot of emissions they create. Although that has been mitigated throughout the years, there are still obviously many gas-powered and diesel-powered cars out there, trucks, semi-trucks, etc. And there's a high fatality rate. Now let's compare that to high-speed rail. They're very fast, and they don't have to deal with as much traffic as they're on a predestined, very thought-out, very organized system. They're very efficient, and they prove to be sustainable for the planet. So what can we learn from the AVE system, which is the second largest rail system in the world, right behind China's rail system? Well, my central argument is that high-speed rail proves to be very safe. It can reduce environmental harm, it can increase economic productivity, and it's great for urban design. So Spain's AVE system demonstrates how rails can transform mobility, reduce emissions, and improve quality of life. Part 1, the building of the AVE. So in Spain, in the 1980s, they transitioned from a dictatorship to a democracy. This was major political and economic reforms began to take place, and the government wanted to prioritize the modernization of the infrastructure, and they wanted to connect major cities for better economic prosperity. In 1988, the construction began. They were planning for a national high-speed rail network, and they approved a fully electric rail infrastructure that would be powered by renewable energy. The construction started on the main corridor from Madrid to Seville, and then existing rail corridors and stations were modernized in the process, so it was a win-win. The first line in 1992 opens. It connects Madrid and Seville, and the top speeds can reach over 180 miles per hour, and travel time reduced from 6 hours to 2.5 hours, and it's highlighted here in this red. In 2026, so present day, it is now the second largest network right behind China, and there's over 2,500 miles of high-speed rail track. As you can see here, every single line connects nearly every major city, and hundreds of additional miles are still planned or under construction as we speak. So part 2, rails save lives. There are many safety benefits. In the United States, around 16,000 car crashes happen every single day. And if you compare that to the 0.15 incidents that happen with high-speed rail per day, it's really no comparison. That 0.15, it takes around 6 days to even get one full crash for a train on average, theoretically speaking, and trains dramatically reduce transportation risk. So as you can see here, overall Europe is much better with car fatalities and crashes. Part 3, lower emissions. So there are many environmental benefits to high-speed rail. The fully electric system is powered by an increasingly renewable energy grid. It replaces many short-haul flights between major cities. It reduces the dependency on single occupancy automobiles, decreases demand for highway expansion and road construction, supports denser, more sustainable urban development, and moves 300 to 500 passengers in one trip with a smaller per-person footprint. So essentially, more passengers, less land, lower emissions. Rail shape better cities. So you can always hear the argument in the United States, one more lane to add to the existing highway infrastructure. But once we get that one more lane, word comes out and everyone starts using that lane, and the highway becomes ever more congested, and you're stuck in this loop of adding one more lane, and it's just not efficient, viable solution to the transportation issues we find ourselves in. So this graphic is pretty neat. It shows what our country looks like on fossil fuel vehicles, electric vehicles, and then what it would look like if we were to prioritize walking, biking, and public transit. And this is what many cities, core like city centers look like in Europe, for example, in Spain. And I believe that this photo here takes after Belgium or the Netherlands. Part 4, economic impact. Economic benefits, there's better workforce mobility, more people get into where they want to go in a more reasonable amount of time. It increases tourism. Many tourists choose to take the AVE system when going across from major cities in Spain. It reduces household transportation costs and less need for private vehicle ownership, which means less maintenance costs and less time spending time fixing a vehicle, because really you're only having to depend on the AVE system or other modes of transportation that does not require a costly vehicle. Some challenges, of course, like anything, there are some upfront challenges, like the high upfront cost to build. It's very expensive to get everything on board. There's a lot of political resistance with the car industry. There's a lot of lobbying to keep cars the main mode of transportation in the United States, and that has been proven very successful, as it is the most popular form. But there are some long-term gains, like the lower maintenance costs, the higher capacity, and cleaner infrastructure. So what can the United States learn? We can learn that it is possible to implement high-speed rail. I mean, even a greater example would be to look at China. They have the largest expansive network, and they're about the same size as us, and they can connect their major cities, so there's really nothing stopping us other than, well, there are many factors, but the size of our country is not one of those factors. It's just where we allocate our money, it's how we prioritize transportation, it's political interference, and so much more that holds us back from implementing high-speed rail. So some possible corridors. California has a lot of major cities on its coast. The Northeast here has many major cities as well. New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., New Jersey is a state, but there's a lot of, it's very dense urbanly in there. Texas has their urban triangle here: Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, I believe. And high-speed rail could really connect to those major cities far better than any highway could ever. And the Midwest, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Chicago, Milwaukee, Des Moines, Columbus, Detroit, Indianapolis, all those cities can be connected with high-speed rail, could really benefit from this. So can America rethink mobility? It is possible, but it takes a societal shift to enact these changes. So transportation does more than move people. It shapes economies, it saves lives, and it protects the planet. Here are my sources, and thank you for listening.